Mackenzie. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. Today we are doing a reading vlog. Yay! But it's themed. We have a purpose. We have a purpose. I have a purpose. This reading vlog, I've already taken the books out of the box, so forgive me. But this reading vlog, we are rereading my favorite childhood series, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. So when I was a child, back before, if you don't know how I started my reading journey, here's how it went. We started with Twilight. I'm sorry, yes, it happened. We made questionable decisions. However, Twilight is the series that made me actually want to start reading. So after Twilight, we picked up this lovely series, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, because I am obsessed with Greek mythology. Truly, I'm really obsessed with any kind of mythology, old religions. I really like learning about it. I don't know why, but I have it. It's great. And it was truly wonderful because unlike Harry Potter, where I felt like I totally missed the boat on all of that and didn't really read it until after everyone was already obsessed with it, it was really something that I was on time with, and it really touched me, you know? Like, it hit all of my parts. It made me feel good. So I have an original set that I read when I was a child. It's still up there. It's disgusting. That's why it's way up there. So for Christmas, my lovely husband got me a new box set. They're out of order. I can do this. He got me a new box set with the pretty new editions of the covers, which I truly love, truly enjoy. And I wasn't entirely sure if I was going to vlog this experience. I have had to deal with some family issues and a bit of grief from my own. So I wasn't really comfortable being in front of the camera for quite a while. So there's been like a week and a half where I haven't done any videos, and that's why. However, I was reading the first one. I was reading The Lightning Thief, just to kind of feel better about myself, get myself back into reading, and kind of get out of my head with the grief. So I picked up my first love, The Lightning Thief, and it was so beautiful and so fun and so adventurous, and I was like, yeah, this is great. Let's keep going. So we did, and I started the Sea of Monsters last night, and I was like, you know, I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready to be in front of the camera again. I think I'm ready to kind of talk to you guys because I'm really excited. This series means so much to me, especially because the author didn't show their ass on Twitter and hasn't ruined anything for me. So I hold it so special and so dear to my heart, and it is something that I feel I feel so strongly about this series. So we have already finished the first one for this vlog. I guess I can give you some of my notes. What do I think? As a first book, I do feel like it held up. I feel like it was still very exciting. I feel like rereading everything that happened during their adventure, I was like, wow, a lot of stuff happened during their adventure. A lot. They went through a lot, and they're like 12? There was a moment where I was reading his life where, you know, his mom is married to this horrible guy, and so, you know, he has a bad stepfather, and he always has to go to a bunch of different schools where he's bullied, and he gets kicked out, and because of his ADHD and his dyslexia, and nobody really, like, helps him with any of that, and like, every single prep school that he goes to, they don't have anyone to work with him at all. And this was written in 2005. First hardcover edition, June 2005. So, I mean, that sucks. That totally blows. And I remember going to school in 2005. I remember how if you were just a little bit too hyper, or you needed just a little bit extra time, teachers would give you such a hard time about it. And it's just kind of really sad because I work I don't work in education, I work education adjacent, and so I work with a lot of children who have IEPs or who need help with that or who just need small adjustments to their coursework so that way they can perform at a level that is representative of their intelligence. 2005 still doesn't feel like it was that long ago, but apparently it was, especially in that kind of aspect where it's like children who only have dyslexia and ADHD, which are common problems that you can get a lot of help with in the classroom. You need an advocate to advocate for you for sure, but you can get that help in the classroom these days. And for Percy Jackson and all of his friends and classmates to go to these preparatory schools where you have to pay tuition to go to a middle school and they're not even going to give you anything to help you, any kind of background or any kind of sources, resources, people who know what you're... It's a little frustrating seeing Percy's school, just because it's like, wow, that is the reality. At least it was the reality. And you know what? It is the reality for a lot of people who don't have someone to advocate for them. And it's horrible, and it's sad. Let's see. As for the ending, I remembered the ending of this book, but the ending of this book also shows that there is an overarching villain. So there's a villain of this book, and then there's a villain of this series. And so I remembered the villain of this book, but for whatever reason, I just didn't remember the villain of this series, or the fact that it was set up in this book. I know with a lot of books, I'm going to cite Harry Potter, not because I agree at all with anything that J.K. Rowling has said. Absolutely not. That woman is a TERF and not allowed. But I am going to reference Harry Potter in the sense that the first book doesn't really set up the fact that there's gonna be like Horcruxes and a whole big battle against Voldemort. It doesn't really seem like the whole plot was thought out before she wrote the first one. With this one, it does feel like that. I know this series has less books, but it is more well thought out, and I do actually appreciate that a lot more. So, I'm just gonna slide that baby right back in there. Oh, beautiful. Okay. So, currently we are reading The Sea of Monsters. It's absolutely darling. I'm on chapter 5. I'm using this metal mark. I'm gonna show you. This is the metal mark that came in the Fairy Loot January box. It's Athena, and I love it. And yeah, I don't know if anyone else does this, but when I choose a bookmark for the book that I'm reading, I choose it based on the genre of my book. So, Greek mythology, Athena bookmark. It really just made sense to me. So I'm about 4 chapters into this. It's actually very, very short. This one is 360. This one's 260. It's almost 100 pages shorter, which, if we think about it, if we think about the fact that book 1 was setting up not only Percy's life outside of Camp Half-Blood, but also Camp Half-Blood itself, and then also having an adventure, you kind of understand where that page number came from. But book 1 still didn't feel like it was too long in any sense of the word. I am almost worried that this book is going to feel too short. However, it doesn't feel that way so far. It does feel like things got going really fast, but with books that take place in either a school setting or a summer camp setting, we really don't, not that we don't care what's happening outside of the school term or outside of the summer camp, more so is most of the story is happening during the school year or the summer camp. So we don't really need to spend too much time Percy saying goodbye to his mom. What we need to know is things are popping off and we need to get going. Things are happening. Okay, things are happening. I did peek at the end of this book because obviously I've already read this series. I know things that happen. I just don't know the order in which things happen or where they happen. You know? Like, I don't know exactly what happens in book 2, but I know what happens throughout the series. Does that make sense? I hope so. So that's the intro of this vlog. Let's get going. We're gonna read the second book. All right. Update. I just finished Sea of Monsters. Very good, very good. I gave it a 4 out of 5, like the first one. 4 out of 5 so far. I think that no spoilers so far. So far, spoiler free. I think that there is not a pacing issue. However, things have sped up incrementally, but things are much faster now. Maybe like book 1, we were going 30 miles an hour. Now we're at like 45. Things are going just much faster than I think. Not that I think that they need to be, because I do appreciate, while this is, I think, the shortest book in the series, it does still talk about and bring in the overarching conflict. This book, the second book, talks much more about the overarching conflict of the series and the prophecies that are happening. So, in line with Greek mythology, all of Percy Jackson and the Olympians are, each book has a prophecy for themselves, for the adventure that the heroes are going to be going on within that book, and then there is an overarching prophecy for this whole series. So we haven't heard what the overarching prophecy is just yet in its entirety, but we did get more information about it, which I do appreciate. It does feel like everything was well thought out. Not even just well thought out, but thought out at least, you know? Very exciting, very good. I did feel like there was almost like a Deus Ex Machina moment where we just, like, the heroes are saved incidentally, and, you know, because they needed to be, so here they are being saved. But yeah, I still did enjoy it. I did think that it was still good, still entertaining. It does kind of propel you into needing to read the next one right away, as opposed to being like, oh, summer is over and so now we'll just come back next year, you know? It's much more like, here it is, here's an issue, we're gonna fix it next book. All right, so the Titan's Curse is the third one. I'm really excited for this one. It actually enters a few of my favorite side characters. The third one was my favorite during my first read, so I am really excited to get to it. Anyway, here we go. Book number 3, Rick Riordan. I had to film another video because I suck at being prepared. But here we are with this vlog. It's another day with this vlog. Here we are. I read this book in 2 days because I freaking loved it, you guys. I mean, I have some critiques. I'm not even gonna feel bad about these critiques because it's the first time that in this series, in this reread, that I've had critiques. So I'm gonna critique, okay? Okay, here we go. Spoiler warning for characters within this novel and within the rest of the series. Also spoiler warning for character development. I'm going to really try and not say anything about plot, but I am going to talk about character development, okay? Okay, spoiler. It's on the screen. It's cool that Annabeth and Talia both have traditionally masculine character traits. Annabeth being super prideful and Talia being almost hard-headed and prideful. But it's weird that they hate Percy for no reason. And like that's a whole part of the book, right? Like in book 1, Annabeth doesn't like Percy for no reason other than the fact that their parents have kind of like an issue with each other. But how does that relate to either of them? And none of the other Athena kids hate Percy like Annabeth does. And then Talia comes and she is just mean. You know, like, hey, I remember being a kid and I remember not wanting anyone to see my emotions or my vulnerability at all. But if you're friends with someone, why you act this way? Why you slightly bully them? Like a lot of the time I felt like Percy was trying to talk to Talia and like, you know, open up with her and kind of get her to talk or say like, hey, I'm here if you need to listen. And she just kind of pushed him away very completely. And like, I know she's got her own stuff going on and it's a hard time for any half-blood, any child of the big three, but seriously, she was not cool. And both of them not liking him and also both of them loving Luke as much as they do really leads into this, oh, we can only like one man. And if we don't like this one, then we'll like this one. But if we like this one, we can't like that one. And that's why Annabeth and Talia, it's very strange. It's very, very strange, this kind of symmetry that Percy has walked with both Annabeth and Talia. At least Annabeth has some semblance of growth. However, Talia, at the end of this, is you know, she's at the end of this, and plot spoilers too. Talia at the end of this is with the Hunters of Artemis, and so like, she's gone. There's no resolution with Talia. She's just like, yeah, I'm gonna give up on the quest, the big prophecy. I'm the next one to turn 16, but I'm too tempted, is basically what happened. Rick Riordan wrote Talia to be this super, oh, I'm a big tough guy, and then as soon as temptation came into her viewpoint, she was like, ooh, no, I have to remove myself completely from this scenario because I'm gonna make a bad decision. Yeah, I remember Nico and Bianca, and they come in to the story at this point, and I'm really excited for them, and I also know Talia's here also, so like, that's exciting, but I was like, why don't I remember too much about Talia? And it's because I don't like her. She's written very poorly. This was bad. I entirely understood Bianca's choice to join the Hunters of Artemis because it makes sense for her character. She was basically a mom to Nico for years, and she finally has an opportunity to make sure Nico is safe, but also do something for herself and actually be her own person, which is nice and kind and exciting. For Talia, though, she is, as we know her and as she's being brought to us, a fighter and someone who is willing to die for friends, but only if those friends are Luke and Annabeth. And anyone else, she is outie 5,000, okay? So, finish this book in 2 days. I think it'll be perfectly fine rating-wise. I just really hated the characters. and that's probably going to affect it. So if it's still a 4-star, it's probably going to be a low 4-star. But, I mean, that's the way the cookie crumbles if we're going to insert a character halfway through and get rid of them. At least Nico stays. Alright, next book we're reading is The Battle of the Labyrinth. We're very excited. Of course we're very excited. It's what we do. It's why we read books. First, though, I have some videos to edit, render, and get uploaded. Then I have laundry to do. It's going to be a very exciting day. So we have audiobooks to listen to while we edit. Let's go get a freaking chai tea latte and let's get our editing pants on. Alright? Alright. Let's go. Good morning, welcome back. What am I talking about? This is an ongoing vlog. Anyway, here's the next part of this video. I finished 4 and 5, The Battle of the Labyrinth and The Last Olympian. I finished them over the weekend, and I don't vlog over the weekend, so that's why you saw nothing of me reading them. But I finished them, and boy do I have thoughts. Okay, I'm going to make the disclaimer right now that first of all, spoiler warning. We're going into spoilers. These are the last 2 books in this series, so if you don't want spoilers for these 2 books or the series, just skip ahead. Just skip ahead. The ratings for both of these were 3.5. They were good. It didn't hold up as well as I thought it would. Okay, now spoilers moving forward. I fully am aware that I am about to rip to shreds. Not rip to shreds. I'm about to critique a 16-year-old, 15 to 16-year-olds and their relationship, and I'm gonna do it, okay? Because all throughout this series, Rick Riordan has made me believe that Percy Jackson is a very empathetic person. He's very aware of situations that are happening around him. He's, not as smart in regards to, mythology and everything else like that and, solving his prophecy. But when it comes down to his interpersonal relationships, he's very intellectual, I would say. And then his hormones kick in, and it's like he's a completely different person. And when I first read these as a child, I did not realize that I was a bisexual person, and so for myself, I just inserted myself instead of into the female characters. My self-insert was Percy, so I was very kind of stoked to have 2 cute, awesome girls fight over Percy Jackson in the last 2 books, because I felt like I was Percy Jackson. Now, as an adult, I realized that that is not freaking okay. It's just not okay. I don't like the way it was written. I feel like Annabeth knows that she's too good for Percy and she still goes for him. It's really frustrating watching Percy Jackson try to have a relationship with Annabeth and with Rachel and doesn't see why that's bad. He's literally going on dates with both of them, kissing both of them, expecting kisses from both of them, and doesn't understand why that's bad, and doesn't get reprimanded for it. It's not like Annabeth explains to Percy, hey, you're being a blockhead right now. No, not once ever. At the end, Rachel is like the Oracle, so she can't be with anyone, which really doesn't make sense. She's 16. Good luck keeping her from having sex with anybody. And so now Annabeth is like, yeah, now that Percy didn't have to make the choice at all, I'm gonna be with him. And that's really the frustrating part, okay? If you're gonna have a love triangle, make it well written. Make the person who has 2 options make a choice. Percy didn't make a choice. Rachel broke up with him twice and then went to go be the Oracle. So 3 times Rachel broke up with him, and only after that, Percy tried to stumble out the fact that he liked Annabeth, and she's like, I'm never gonna make it easy on you, seaweed brain, and then kisses him? Like, no, friend. No. 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 Not for me. I didn't like it. It actually really soured this ending, because plot-wise, these are great. I really enjoy everything else that's happening. It is a bit frustrating how Annabeth, who is the character who's supposed to know a lot about mythology and bring it all home for us, really ignores the misogyny of Greek myths. That's very frustrating, and it's also really frustrating that she will put someone's intelligence or perceived intelligence above everything. So if she thinks someone is smart, it doesn't matter what the bad they do because they're a smart person. Is Annabeth a smart person? You know, I enjoy every other character that's not Percy, Annabeth, or Rachel Elizabeth Dare. Like, I can't stand their freaking love triangle. It's the worst. And yeah, Rachel was kind of introduced in this one, and then she came back here, and Percy's like, I can't stop thinking about her. I memorized her phone number, and all I'm doing is hanging out with Annabeth. And then here, he's like, I don't want to be a hero. I don't want to fight bad guys. I want to run away from Annabeth and running away from Camp Half-Blood to go date Rachel in the beginning of this book. And then he makes it seem like later that he had no idea Annabeth knew what he was doing with Rachel. Like, dude, I'm holding up the wrong book. Who's stupid now, Mackenzie? And then in this one, in the fifth one, okay, it's very frustrating because this is like the culmination of the love triangle, right? Like, he's literally dating Rachel, he's literally dating Annabeth, and he's literally kissing both of them. And then on top of that, he even says to Annabeth right before he's gonna go do something dangerous, he's like, how about a kiss? It's kind of tradition, right? Like, no, dude, it's tradition for you to receive a kiss before you do something dangerous, not just from Annabeth. And stop it with this cockiness. Like, where in this book has Percy Jackson turned into this cocky hotshot that thinks that he can act this way? And like, where in these books is Percy perceived like this? I mean, Rachel doesn't know that Percy held up the sky. Why does Rachel like Percy? I know why Annabeth likes Percy, because he's heroic and he does things, and it's much easier to love someone who saved your life, especially when you go into dangerous situations. It's much easier to rationalize a relationship with that person. Why does Rachel like Percy? She doesn't know anything about his, like, hero work until this one. Why does Rachel like Percy? I don't get it. It's kind of just a derpy boy. I really, really loved how the background characters became more of a forefront in the last book. I really love, oh my gosh, Beckendorf, Clarice, Selena. Are you freaking kidding me? With that, like, absolute... I'm hot off of the heels of reading Song of Achilles, right? And then we get that whole scene with Selena and Clarice. And I know they're supposed to be straight, but I totally coded them gay the whole time, right? I think that moment with Clarice and Serena kind of made up for every horrible piece of crappy love triangle that I had to read about Percy and Annabeth and Rachel. I got that sweet moment with Clarice and Serena, and it sings to my soul. I love it. Okay, so 3.5, the both of them. I rounded them up to 4 stars on Goodreads because I understand, quite frankly, I am judging a middle grade book very hardcore on its romance. So I will secede a little bit because I did very much enjoy the plot for both of these. I will say that they are 4 stars on Goodreads. You asked me in person, they're 3.5 for sure. For sure, because I really, if you're going to make romance a huge part of a middle grade series, write it well. They're middle schoolers, right? That's the age range for these students that should be reading these books. So then they should have some proper romance guidelines. And I'm really tired of love triangles where these girls are fighting over one mediocre man. Make him better, or at least explain it. Like I said, it makes sense for Annabeth to really want to be with Percy. Doesn't really necessarily make sense for Rachel at all. I digress. I am very happy that I did read this series again. I know for sure now that when I start the Heroes of Olympus that I'm not missing much. There really wasn't much that happened here. The plot, I mean, in regards to interpersonal relationships, the plot was really great. I really enjoyed how the last book even led into the next series. I really enjoyed how it felt like it did kind of wrap up and there was happiness, at least at the end. I feel like some of the books let off at a cliffhanger, but there was a lot of, oh, okay, this is an ending now. So really did enjoy that. I really did enjoy the overall plot. Don't let my critiques on the romance make you think differently, because I did enjoy the plot. It's just the romance was bad, and when the romance takes up a lot of the plot, I am going to talk about it, especially when thinking about how these books are probably the first romances any little girl is gonna read. It's kind of important to me. Anyway, that's the end of the blog. The blog? That's not a blog. This is the end of the vlog. Let's see if I can do this, you guys. You think I can do it? Alright, that's the end of the vlog, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Have a good one. Bye!